I just want to welcome all prospective Castellea students and families to this webinar, and we're excited to be here. My name is Ian Van Wert, and I'm currently teaching 6th grade science at Castellea. This is my first year at Castellea. Before that, I was at Germantown Friends School in Philadelphia for 12 years, and then I was at Catherine Delmar Burke School in San Francisco for 5 years. So I'm really excited to be at Castellea. Some of my favorite things to do outside of school are grow my own fruit and my own vegetables in my garden. And I also like to forage for wild food. As we spend the next 15 minutes together, 20 minutes together, if you have questions, you can put them in the question and answer session, and Jill Lee will try to answer them for you. And if we have time, we'll try to answer some at the end as well. And I'm just really excited because one of my favorite things about Castellea so far has been the theme of observation in 6th grade. The 6th graders are keeping observations journals in English, they're making close observations in art, and we're making lots of really close observations in science. So now I'm going to ask my panelists from 6th grade to introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Jada Williams, and I'm a 6th grader in Castellea.
Hi, I'm Neva Babna, and I'm a 6th grader in Castellea too.
Hi, I'm Elena Salvatierra, and I'm also a 6th grader in Castellea.
All right, thank you, Jada, Neva, and Elena for introducing yourselves, and thanks for being here on Saturday to be a part of this. What we're gonna do today is we're gonna demonstrate a lesson or a series of lessons. We're gonna compress a series of lessons that we did earlier in the year. And this series of lessons is about writing hypotheses. And we used a particular tool to write those hypotheses. And so I'm going to show you what that tool is right now. That tool is what we call a mystery cube. So you can see that this mystery cube has a mystery side that is covered up, but on all of the other sides, it has some geometric shapes. Okay, so that's an example of a mystery cube. And so a cube has 6 sides, and if 5 of them are visible and 1 of them is invisible, then we can use close observation of the 5 visible sides to try to see a pattern. And then we can analyze that pattern and try to write a hypothesis that is logical. So that's what we're going to try to demonstrate for you today. I am going to, let's see. I am going to share my screen so that you can see one of the slideshows that we did. And let's see if okay, so here we have the first slide of our lesson. And Jada, would you start us off with teaching us about this thinking protocol that we're going to think through for 2 mystery cubes?
Okay. Question. What is on the hidden side of the cube?
Then you make observations. I see.
3. Analysis. The observations I made me think the pattern is.
4. Hypothesis. I think that is on the hidden side of the cube because explain using analysis.
Awesome. So now we're going to pretend that Jada, Elena, and Neva are in a breakout room together as we're learning. And they are going to attempt to work through this mystery cube with together. Notice that this is no longer a cube because we're on Zoom. I had to squash it and flatten it out, but it still has 6 sides, 5 of which are visible and 1 of which is not. So who wants to start us off with the question?
I can. So the question is, what is on the hidden side of the cube, or where the question mark is?
And what you have to find out, what's on the hidden side of the cube using what you have seen on the cube.
So who will say what you observe?
I observe that we're doing basically adding an S on the bottom, and well, we're matching them with plurals, basically. That's what I think. I don't
Okay, so what I see, it's basically just mouse, spouse, house, then spouses, then houses, then obviously a blank. So what do you guys think would be in that question mark? Elena?
I think it would be mouses because it looks like it's just adding an S.
Really? That's not what I got. I actually thought it was mice because I thought this was like we're doing the plural of everything. See, house and houses, spouse and spouses, so mouse and mice.
Well, we can only know if we take off the covering of the hidden side.
Well, we can't do that, so I mean, I guess that means there's two answers.
What do you think, Jada? Two answers?
Yes, they're both really wonderful answers.
Awesome. Thank you for working through that mystery cube together. And now so in our lessons, we worked through a mystery cube as a class, and then we worked through them in small groups, which you are witnessing. And then students tried to work through several mystery cubes by themselves. The last stage of the short unit was for students to actually make their own mystery cubes, and then for them to present them to other students, and for those other students to try to figure out what is the pattern on the mystery cube using close observation and analysis. So Elena has volunteered to present her mystery cube to her classmates and to you. And let's see if you can figure it out with Jada and Neva.
So the first side of the mystery cube, there is an A with 10 golden dots. The second side, there is a C with 10 golden dots. And the third side, there is an E with 10 golden dots. And the fourth side, there is a question mark with 10 golden dots. And then the fifth side, there is an I with 10 golden dots. And then this final side, there is a K with 10 golden dots.
First off, your cube is really pretty. I like it.
So let's, Jada and Neva, Neva, thank you for giving that compliment. Let's remember to follow the 4-step protocol. So I think it was Neva who said what the question was last time. So Jada, what question are we starting with?
The question is, what's on the question? What's under the question mark side?
So here are observations. I see the letter A on one square, then the letter C, then the letter E, then a question mark, then the letter I, and then the letter K. And all of these have 10 golden dots on them.
Well, I think that we're skipping a letter. So it goes A to C and you skip B. Then you do the same thing except with a question mark. So that kind of breaks the plan.
Okay, so using that, we can come to our hypothesis. If we're skipping a letter, then it's A to C, and the missing letter is B. Then C to E, the missing letter is D. Then E to G. And that's how you figure out the what's on the hidden side of the cube, I guess.
What about the 10 golden dots?
Oh yeah.
The 10 golden dots are on all of the letters. So that means the mystery side, which is G, is going to have 10 golden dots.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Elena, how did they do with your mystery cube?
That's an educated guess, but you'll never know unless you take off what's covering the hidden side.
And you're not going to do that for them, are you, Elena?
No.
I didn't think so. And so everyone who just witnessed that, I hope you you saw that in both cases with the mystery cubes, the students came to one or two very logical hypotheses. but we're trying to model how science really works. And often that there is no one there, the universe refuses to peel off the question mark from the universe's mystery cube, and we have to keep trying and trying and trying. Thank you for being a part of this lesson. It was a very short version of what we did over the course of about a week. And I want to thank the students for coming as well. And I think we have some time for some questions if people have questions. And then let's see if I can see the Q&A. Okay, so the first question in the Q&A that I see is, what type of science will we do throughout the school year? And in sixth grade, we do a big mix of different kinds of science. In the beginning of the year, we start with the scientific method, which you're watching us explore scientific questions and hypotheses, and we talk about all the different steps of the scientific method. We learn a lot about scientific equipment and basic measurement tools. So the students have become very familiar with graduated cylinders and triple beam balances and how to use those. And then we will move on to several other units, including orienteering and map reading and map making, geological time, the Earth systems and how do we preserve them, and then students get to design their own science projects towards the end of the year. That's sixth grade, and I hope that answered your question. So do we build things throughout the sixth grade science year? The answer is generally yes. You saw that students built their own mystery cubes, and students are actually building their own experiments this weekend and early next week to present to each other. Ideally, we would be using the Born Lab and also like doing some interdisciplinary projects, which we can't do on Zoom. So yes, we build things and we're doing our best to be creative about building them during this year when we have to operate on Zoom. So for science in Castellet, yes, each classroom is a science lab, and you can see one of the upper school science labs in my background behind me. And so each lab is equipped with the equipment that students need to learn that subject. So every lab's a little bit different, but every student learns in a science lab. Is the science lab open all the time and after school? I think not. I think students need to be in science class to use the science lab, and I'm not aware that there's after school time that students can use the science lab. But Jada, would you like to say a little bit more about your experience as, you know, in your first 6 or 7 weeks of sixth grade? And then maybe we can hear from each of you, because I know families probably really want to hear from you guys as much as possible.
Well, do you mean like all of the subjects, or?
Yeah, just your general experience. You can talk about science.
Okay, so I do French, and in French right now, we just had our first test about like pronouns and verbs. And so, like, if your child wants to do French, right now you'd probably be learning how to say hellos, like greetings, basically all types of ways to say goodbye, and you'll be learning how to say your name and ask for like personal data, which like your phone number, address, and ask like where you live. So that's basically what we're learning in French right now.
Awesome. Jada, thank you so much. There's one other question in the chat. There are lots and lots of group projects at Castellet in the sixth grade. And even when we're not doing group projects, we do our best to work in teams as much as possible. So students work in teams of 2, 3, or 4 so that they get as much chance to engage with the material as possible. Elena, can you say a little bit about your experience in sixth grade?
Yeah, it's definitely been interesting coming from fifth grade to sixth grade online, but I definitely think like I look forward to my classes because Castellana does a good job at like making room for like people to talk and get to know each other, even if it's over Zoom. And I definitely think the classes are really interesting. So yeah, even though it's kind of sad that it's on Zoom, it's not that bad.
Thank you, Elena. And Neva, would you like to comment?
Yeah, sure. So I just moved from India about 3 months ago. So this has been a pretty big change for me. And like, Incasta is such a nice school. It's so welcoming, and I didn't feel like left out at all or like a newcomer. And like, even though everything's online, it's just super cool. And you guys have done it so well. Like in English class, they're having somebody come over to talk to us about the 19th century. So we get to live like a day in the life of a 19th century kid, and just lots of cool projects and all. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
Thank you, Neva. Thank you to the three of you, Jada, Elena, and Neva, for taking time out of this day to come and be with us and demonstrate how we learn at Castellea, and for just sharing your personal experience and letting people know where you've come from. There's a few more questions in the question and answer that I'd like to answer. So I'd like to say, is there chemistry in 6th grade? I would say there is chemistry in 6th grade, although it's building the foundation of chemistry. So we've been working very hard over the last few weeks to identify some liquid chemicals that we used in which either a candle floated or a candle sunk. And we've been really trying to peel back the layers to identify those liquids, their smells, their flammabilities, their densities, and we just worked really hard to measure their density. So I think learning to use the tools of measuring mass and volume really lay the foundation for a strong experience later in 8th grade when they do more chemistry, and of course in high school when they actually take chemistry. And of course they also are introduced to physics in the middle school as well. So just building a little by little so that when they do get to the high school, they are ready for the high school level courses. It's 11 o'clock, and so I think we're going to need to end the webinar really soon. But I just want to once again thank everyone who took the time to attend. And I want to wish all of the prospective students and the prospective families, I hope that you find the best school for you. And if it's Castellea, that's amazing. And if it's not, we wish you the best as well. So thanks, everyone.